Hey guys, I narrate the interesting stories people tell from every place of the internet. On this occasion, I will read some of the comments from a video that plays the song Clair de Lune of Debussy, found here on YouTube. I must add that some of these stories are quite touching and deep, so I hope you like them. Story number 1. I was a kid, my late sister holding my hand, walking home. 30 blocks to go. My eyes at all times on the moon, which would appear and hide in the cloudy night sky. I did wonder why the moon kept following me and no one else. Many years later, this piece brought me back to these moments when the moon gave me the full attention. I still feel the warmth of my sister's hands. She's my moon now. Hong Kong was a wonderful place in the 50s. Comment on story 1. Beautiful words. My grandfather was born in Hong Kong in the 1910s, but raised in Guangzhou. He then came to America and met my grandmother and married in the late 30s. Hong Kong is a very beautiful and special place. My daughter is named after the moon in Cantonese, Yuan. God bless. Story number 2. I played this video for my dad as he died. It was his favorite song. He couldn't say much. The nurse was talking and he just said as loud as he could, "Listen." So we all shut up so he could hear it. We played it for the last 6 hours of his life. This is the first time I've ever listened to it since. It put me right back in the hospital room, holding his hand, telling him how I just can't thank him enough for keeping me alive, sticking by when no one else did, and never giving up on me. After I thanked him, he struggled to talk and look at me, but I could make out the 3 syllables, "I love you." The last thing he ever said. They gave him meds not long after that, and he went to sleep, and we watched his vitals tick down to nothing, holding his hand, playing this song. He was the greatest man I ever knew, and I aspire to be just like him in every way I can. He was so selfless and put everyone else before him to a fault, and he never ever let his family down. I love you, Dad. First comment on story 2. I played We'll Meet Again by Vera Lynn for my mom at the same point in her life. What a gift you gave your dad. This will become comforting as time goes on. Second comment on story 2. I know the feeling, dude. I lost my uncle a while back. He was a Vietnam vet. He had pretty bad PTSD and died from Agent Orange, which is a chemical used in the Vietnam War. On his deathbed, he could hardly move or talk. I played my banjo for him for hours. I sang for him too. I knew it meant a lot to him because while he may have been drugged, he cried. Not tears of pain, but ones of completion. He did just about everything he wanted to do in his life. He had no regrets. Life may not be great at times, and it can suck sometimes too. But in the end, life is too short. Cherish what time you have, because in the end, it's never enough. The only things eternal are love and God. I know he loved me, and I love him. Maybe one day I will see him again. Third comment on story number 2. You're really lucky to have at least seen his face before he went. I was never able to see my mother. The last place I saw her was her casket. I couldn't even believe it. I felt so empty and numbed. But after that, I felt a whole tear in my heart. You're very lucky to have said I love you for the last time. I never got the chance. Story number 3. This song came over the hospital radio as I held my newborn son for the first time. His big, bright blue eyes gazing up at me. Everything else just disappeared and it was just him and I. This is forever our song, and I dream of one day dancing with him to this as our mother's son danced at his wedding. This song and my son are beautiful blessings. Thank you, Debussy, for these precious moments. Story number 4. The child of a cousin of mine was going deaf. They knew she had maybe a year left of hearing. I gave her a CD to play to her with Clair de Lune, among other beautiful classical and jazz music, hoping this hauntingly beautiful music would stay with her for the rest of her life. Story number 5. This piece was something that was really important to me, specifically on the 11th of August. I had my exam results from the UK GCSEs and felt so nervous. I felt the moon was going to crush me and I'd mess up my chances of a good education. However, the moon didn't crush me. It shined on me. I got all the grades I wanted, and this song was comforting to my ears. This song also allows me to dream. It makes me dream of my desire for love, happiness, and sanctuary. I feel like my life is a canvas that has only been painted for nearly 17 years and has a lot more painting to be done. But I want another canvas to look at and call the love of my life. Story number 6. 2 years ago, November 2nd, 2018, My 53-year-old son passed away. Very suddenly, he was my heart. We spoke every day, traveled to many beautiful places together, and had such good times, laughter, and memories. This beautiful piece I've played every single night since, and I'm able to get to sleep. Thank God for this gentle, uplifting, brilliant piece. Story number 7. My daughter knew this piece was my favorite and played it for me while she was taking lessons, and believe me, she was good as what you can hear here. She died a few months ago, and I will never hear her hands play for me again. Listen carefully and immerse yourself in the tones. Listen and enjoy one of the best piano pieces of all times. First comment for Story 7. I find the composition to be utterly intoxicating and absolutely enthralling. The cascade of emotions this song makes me feel, which ranges depending on which part of the song I am, but your story may surface from time to time after reading this comment. I'm deeply sorry for your loss. She sounds like a girl of my own heart. Second comment of Story 7. My son was 22 years old and was killed in February of this year. He wanted to learn how to play so badly and was practically all the time on his keyboard. He loved this piece and would play it ad nauseum. I'd give anything to hear him listening to it again, humming along to it. I even had it tattooed on my arm. For my beautiful son, Isaiah, Claire de Lune. Every keystroke breaks my heart. Third comment for Story number 7. You brought me to tears with this post. My mother was a wonderful piano player and I lost her in 1999. Never again to hear her renditions of so many wonderful songs. I told her when she got to the other side to send me a message that she was okay by playing my favorite, Rhapsody in Blue. I never heard it. Story number 8. I had this song on while I overdosed. I clearly remember dozing off, and I woke up in the hospital. Somehow they revived me after 168 pills. This song will have a deep meaning forever. I now play it for my kids to help them sleep after a second chance at life. I'm still struggling mentally, but seeing them peaceful and asleep brings me peace. Story number 9. This melody has carried me through many hard times. I first became attached to it while I was deployed to Afghanistan, and it helped me to calm my mind. This masterpiece then got me through college, alcoholism, and depression. This piece has always been comforting to me. Whenever I am overwhelmed, I will often just listen to this song while doing breathing exercises. I only wish that I could thank Debussy and impress upon him how moving this piece is to many people. Story number 10. My dad loved his music loud. He'd play songs of all kinds on the TV downstairs, whether it's this beautiful masterpiece, Kurt Cobain, some random Irish song, or Keith Green. I got almost all of my music from him, and I cherish that. He'd play this piece and drift off in the couch. I'd hear him snoring loudly downstairs. I'd almost always hate the loud music, never being able to hear my own phone. Now I just miss it. This piece will always make me cry thinking of you. I miss you so much, Dad. You're gone way too soon. Rest in peace from July 17, 1969 to September 11, 2022. Story number 11. I'm sitting here with my son listening to it as I have a million times before with my children. My mother named me after this song. She said it was the most beautiful song she had ever heard. The first time I ever actually heard it was at her funeral. It's so haunting and deeply personal and beautiful that it transcends any notion of soulfulness we could ever imagine. It will always move both my heart and my soul. I'm missing both my mama and my daddy, her best friend, and mine as well. Story number 12. I played this video for my mom as she was on a ventilator in the ICU. It was the only song she ever learned to play on the piano by her dad. She died a few days later. My mom was my best friend. I miss you so much, Mom. August 7th, 2022. Story 13. I hope you're doing well up there, Sam. I was always jealous of how much better you were at this piano than me, and I feel like you would have done this piece absolute justice. You were such a kind, caring, free-spirited, insanely creative human being. I'm forever thankful for when we hung out together the last summer. I was in a pretty rough spot, but catching up with you after not being in touch for so long really helped lift my spirits up. You did such a good job during your time on this earth, making sure everyone you knew felt a sense of unconditional love and appreciation. May God allow you to enjoy eternal peace and serenity. You don't deserve to feel any more discomfort, pain, or suffering. Rest in peace, friend. January 2001 to March 2022. Story 14. This song reminds me of my great-grandma, who died when I was 5 or 6. I always visited her in her nursing home since I was 1 or 2. Every Wednesday, my grandma and I would always bring her favorite candies, which are these raspberry-flavored sticks covered in dark chocolate. I remember running around in her room, dancing and laughing and telling her what happened that week, and sharing her favorite chocolates. She was 91 when she passed away, and I was only 5 or 6 years old. This was my first experience with grief and God, and well, it hurt a lot. I felt like all those memories were going to be forgotten. I was so overwhelmed with emotions when I was barely in elementary school. One thing I remember from her funeral was my dad saying his speech and seeing tears flow down his face for the first time. That was the first time I saw my dad, a tough, almost emotionless person, cry. I also remember when my grandma said her speech. She could barely keep a sentence going because of how torn she was. It was like a piece of her heart had been stolen from her. Ever since that day, she has never been the same. As for myself, I'm still in school and have ADHD. So when I drift off into my own little world, I always think of my memories with her because I have always been terrified of forgetting them. I get yelled a lot by my teacher for daydreaming, but I couldn't care less. As long as I can keep those precious memories of my great-grandma. Her birthday just passed by. It was the 21st of July. Rest in peace, great-grandma Marie. I miss you so much, and I just can't wait to see you again. This is my first video, and I understand that I may have some typos. I even have a little accent. I got to the US when I was 11, so this is not my native language, obviously. But I would just like to point out that art, music especially, is probably the most humane thing humans produce. It allows us to release our inner true selves, and many of the people sharing these experiences and thoughts on this thread were and still are deeply affected by a single piece of music. I love the humane side of the web, and I'll do my best to keep bringing that up here to you, though I will touch every kind of topic. Sad and deep like this one, funny, frustrating, and maybe even some mildly scary or mysterious stuff. So if you're interested, please like and subscribe to the channel, and, well, give me your recommendations in the comments below.